Cutting plywood and easily breaking down sheet goods is something you can do if you have one tool, and it's called the Kreg Rip Cut tool. And this is awesome because it only costs 26 to 34 bucks. You can attach it to your circular saw, and you don't have to buy a table saw, which costs hundreds of dollars. So I'm going to show you how to use the Kreg Rip Cut tool in today's video, which also ties in nicely with a project I'm doing at home for our bathroom mock-up, which is part of Bathroom Repair Tutor. And in the end, I've got an awesome surprise for you, so do not miss this video. I think you're really going to like it. Let's get to it. So here's my bathroom mock-up that I'm working on for Bathroom Repair Tutor. We're going to be putting in an entire bathroom step-by-step and share it with our fans over at Home Repair Tutor and Bathroom Repair Tutor. But in order to do that, one step of the process is to install subfloor. So we're using 3/4 inch tongue and groove wood subfloor for this project because we're going to be tiling over it using Tutor, and Tutor needs to go on top of the subfloor. So how am I going to rip down these subfloors without having a table saw? Well, the Kreg Rip Cut tool comes in handy for me because I don't do too many sheet good projects, and I don't want to spend the $300 or $400 bucks that I would have to spend for a table saw. So I'm going to show you how to set up the Kreg Rip Cut tool. It's super easy to use with your circular saw, and let's do that right now. This is the bathroom mock-up. Here is the subfloor. We have, as you can see, a 13-inch wide by 8-foot long piece of subfloor that we need to cut the size. I'm going to use the Kreg Rip Cut tool to do that.
You can place 2x4s on a flat surface to support your sheet good when you're cutting it with the circular saw. Now, I don't know about you, but 3/4 inch tongue and groove plywood, it's some heavy stuff. I had to shuffle this over.
So guys, the other thing is, this is the nice side of the plywood that I want facing up, but because of the way that the circular saw cuts, I'm going to put this face down on the 2x4s. So the cool thing is you don't really have to measure with the Rip Cut tool, but I want this board to be farther out than 13 inches. So it's about 14 inches from the edge. That way I won't cut into the 2x4 when I use the Rip Cut tool. There are 3 parts to the Rip Cut tool. There's the sled. This attaches to the circular saw. This is the rail, and this is the edge guide, which runs along the edge of the sheet good or the plywood. The base plate of the circular saw goes up onto the sled here. So what you'll do is you'll slide this on, and the blade goes in between here into these slots. So you can just slide it on like so. And you use these to tighten it down. What you do from here is simply slide the rail onto the sled.
You need to calibrate the saw's blade with the Rip Cut. So what you'll have to do is this. Simply push the Rip Cut tool until the edge guide is flush up against the saw guide. So as you can see here, the edge guide will be up against the saw guide. What you'll have to do is pull the saw guide up so that the edge guide can touch the saw blade. So there you go. I just pushed the edge guide up against the saw blade and calibrated the Rip Cut tool with my circular saw. You'll want to lock the Rip Cut tool into place and then move the cursor to the 0 mark that is on the rail.
So there's a 0 mark on the rail. You want to line that up, the cursor up with that 0 mark, and make sure it's flush with the edge guide. Here's the 13-inch mark, and I need to move the sled down to that and just line it up with the cursor. Once it's lined up with the 13-inch mark, I just lock it into place, and that's it. I'm good to go. So I did want to show one other thing. I'm using a saw blade that's an ultra finished saw blade. It's got 60 teeth in it. It's really going to make a nice cut with this tongue and groove subfloor. The Rip Cut tool will allow you to cut a piece of 4x8 sheet good in half. So it will go out 24 inches.
Now I'm ready to make my cut with my saw and the Rip Cut. So what you need to do is this. Hold the saw with one hand and the edge guide with the other, and simply move the saw through the material. you can switch the edge guide to the other side of the rail. So if you're left-handed, you can hold the saw with the left hand and the edge guide with your right hand. The other hot tip I have for you is this. You should always make your saw blade about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch deeper than the depth of the material. So in this case, I made my saw blade 1 inch deep because my material was 3/4 inches thick.
Pretty awesome. Well, there you go, guys. Cutting plywood couldn't get any easier using the Kreg rip cut tool. You can use it with your circular saw. Again, it only costs 26 to 34 bucks. And here's the surprise. I talked to Kreg. I actually approached them and they gave me the go-ahead to say this in this video, but they're willing to give away 2 Kreg rip cut tools to 2 random fans of Home Repair Tutor. So head back on over to homerepairtutor.com, click on one of these links here. It'll take you back over to that page and you'll see how you can enter into that giveaway. It's pretty sweet. I think that you'd love this tool. It could help you with your plywood project or any kind of sheet good project you have going on. All right, so check that out. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the YouTube channel here so you don't miss out on any of these awesome giveaways. But remember, go back to Home Repair Tutor by clicking on one of these links and you'll be able to enter into the random giveaway. Thanks for watching. Take care and I'll talk to you soon.